could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Yeah, and times are changing everywhere. Do we dream and do we dare? It's up to you, the door is open wide. Feel the rhythm of today, learn the part and join the play. The world is here, let's take it for a ride. You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Larger, larger than, bigger, bigger than, living hopes and dreams. Every boy and girl, higher, higher than, brighter, brighter than, all you wanted. You know, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. You know you could.
Good morning. Welcome back to the channel, Grand Columbia, and welcome to another Coffee Time Live. And I'm sitting here in beautiful Armenia, Colombia. And let's take a look. Lots of clouds. Can't see because this camera is kind of crappy, but there's actually blue skies there behind those clouds. Been a little warm, but not outrageous. Right now it's about 78 degrees. Got up to 82 yesterday. 81, something like that. But certainly nice. I've noticed the wind patterns all the way up here at the northern border of Armenia. It's a little different than where I've lived up until now. It's kind of bizarre. It's not as windy, except late in the afternoon and early evening when you get these almost typhoon speed, this gale that blasts through here, blows through my apartment. I have to run around and shut the windows. I've never had to do that before because it'll be so strong. It's interesting. Okay, enough of that. Let's see. We've got Yuka, contribution. Thank you very much. Sam and Peg, good morning from Salento. And I notice here, Traveling Retiro. I got a request on something with that name. And I went and looked, and there was like no history. There was no blank information. I delete those. So just so you know, that's why. I had no idea you were associated with it. What else? Hutch, good morning. Are you on? He usually is. Rob, how you doing? Rob, those videos you sent me, that first one was fascinating. It was really good. The other two, yeah, so-so, but the guy is really entertaining. Very good. He sent me a guy who's been doing some videos in the Philippines. And I lived in the Philippines for a short time, long time ago. And, you know, I'm familiar somewhat with the Philippines. not a place I would want to retire to. It's too hot. It's just not me. But those videos, the guy is good. He's got all the talent I wish I had. I'm kind of a talentless bum. Let's see. Juka, greetings from Finland. How you doing? Mike Jarvis, how you doing, Mike? Is Alejandra still out there? She messaged me like one word messages. I have no idea what's going on. What else we got here? David up. What is it? Abid Ball? Good morning. Welcome to the channel. Turtle from Bucaramanga, formerly of Manizales. How you doing? Libby, good morning. How you doing? Rational 20, good morning from Central Florida. Texas Tater, hello from Texas. Sherry Worley, hi from West Union, South Carolina. South Carolina. I used to make weekend trips. When I was living in North Carolina, I'd get on my motorcycle and I would ride down Charleston and usually get a seafood lunch and then ride back. It was a great ride. Let's see. Coleman, how you doing? Rio Negro, you're in Colombia. Well, welcome back. It's been a while. Texas Tater, I'll be there this Tuesday, 4th of July, my Independence Day. Mike Jarvis, no, Alejandra is recovered and back home. Well, that's good to hear. Dan from Ibagué, how you doing, Dan? Okay, today I don't have any kind of main topic. I've got some news items that we'll talk about. What the heck is going off here? You guys hear that beep, 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 beep? Okay. Let's see. Let me go here. First, this is for June. I want to do this.
Life's a foolish game. Do you ever feel the same? Well, maybe we could change.
Thank you very much. Let me know if I missed anybody. I spent quite a bit of time trying not to miss anyone. Okay. And I got a couple comments, just a few of them, and then I'll get to some news. What's this? Oh, greetings from Mark. Real hot over here in Louisiana. Well, I imagine it is. Let's see. All right. First comment. Nobody mentioned my favorite beer that you had with your home cooked meal, I guess it was going to say. So I will mention it. Actually, I think we did mention it afterwards. Aguila. Light in particular. I'm not sure exactly why I've kind of fallen to this. There's always some in my refrigerator. 6-pack will last me somewhere between 1 and 2 months. Obviously, I don't drink very much, but every once in a while you want a cold beer. And for me, that works out to once every week or two. I like this because it's actually refreshing. It doesn't have any kind of weird aftertaste. It's a light beer. You know, I certainly appreciate artisanal beers and home brews and things like that. But there's nothing like a ice cold this when you're thirsty. I don't ever need a second one, but it's just really refreshing. It's the closest thing to drinking a glass of water, but it's actually got a good flavor to it without a bad aftertaste. So it's his favorite beer also. the way I would recommend it, if you're really a beer aficionado, you've got what's called BBC, Bogota Brewing Company. And right down the street from me, they got it on tap. So if you looked last week at the ice cold out of the freezer beer mug that they drew from the tap, that'll be from the BBC. And they do a bunch of different ones. They've got wheat beers and ales and IPAs and, you know, all of that. And they're quite good. They're very good. And that one that was on tap was actually a honey beer that was really delicious. It was really tasty. As a matter of fact, it was a few weeks ago I was down there and I had a nice cold one and a couple of my tacos. And I actually got a second beer, and that's something I almost never do, but it was so tasty. That first one just didn't cut it. By the time I got halfway through, it's like, all right, I'm full. I've had enough, but it was very tasty. Okay, let's go to the next comment. Sir, I love your videos. I'm originally from Armenia and lived in the States for around 30 years. Makes me so happy to hear you talk about all of these things. The way you comment on different topics makes me see how you are fully submerged in understanding the Colombian way. Okay, so I'm reading this one because it's a little self-serving. I get that. On the other hand, I get this all the time from Colombians who watch this channel. So it's the people that are not from Colombia that will often tell me how I don't know what I'm talking about. But people from Colombia rarely will say that. So there you go. And maybe every time I get one, I'll put it up. I pride myself in knowing what I'm talking about or not talking about it. Hey, Lauren. Well, first off, I'm not a girl. Lauren, Lauren, is a girl's name. I happen to believe in two genders, and I'm a male. And I don't think I even have pronouns, but so strike one. I'm still getting new videos in California. There's no problems. You're still on YouTube. I was a little confused about that, but maybe when I talk about being demonetized, he misunderstood that as being taken off. They don't take me off the channel. I've never had a strike. I've never done anything wrong that I had to be reprimanded, but they saw fit to demonetize me, which means I cannot share in the advertising that they run on my videos. It's just a way for them to keep it and try to drive me off the channel. They also throttle my subscriptions. I still have not hit 4,100 subscribers, and we're going, I think we're over 2 years now, stuck at 4,000, which is not even a possibility without somebody meddling with it. Anyway, I'm more interested in Ecuador because my fiance, well, she lives in Guayaquil. I plan to go over there around December. So I need to know what's going on in that part of the world. This is just an opportunity for me to remind people because different things come up. It's like, you know, why don't you, you know, some people think I should be like a travel bureau or something like that. My videos are about my life and my experiences doing what I do. A lot of times it's just boring and mundane. Sometimes it's more exciting. I do travel around occasionally. I haven't in a while. I can't wait to get back out and do a little. Life just keeps getting in the way, but it's the purpose of my videos. Now, I lived in Ecuador. I did 3 years worth of videos in Ecuador, but I'm not living there. So occasionally I'll talk about some news article or we'll get Sandy on. We'll talk a little bit about it. But it doesn't make sense for me to reporting regularly on a place that I'm not living at. So in response to this, I sent him a news link of stuff that was going on in Guayaquil, and you know, he can look that up and you know, take it from there. But This is just an opportunity for me to remind, or I get a lot of new viewers that come and go that don't understand the purpose. I'm not here to put out flowery videos. I'm not here to sell you on Colombia. I'm not here to sell you on Armenia. Not to be rude, but to be honest, I could care less if you visit or come to Colombia or relocate to Armenia. It doesn't affect my life. It doesn't matter to me. If you do, I will welcome you, and we'll do whatever you need if that's the case. But I'm not here promoting anything. And when I talk in flowery terms about something in particular, it's because that's the way I actually feel. And when something annoys me, I'll talk about that also. The nice thing about living in Colombia for me is one of the reasons I'm back here 5 years now, and I'm loving every minute of it, is because I don't have annoying, aggravating things that happen, which happened a lot in Ecuador. I overall I was very happy. I had friends there. I enjoyed my life there, but I'll do that anywhere. It's just on a daily basis, there were things that just really annoyed me, really bothered me. And after a while, it just kind of piles up. Now here in Colombia, I just don't have that. As a matter of fact, so few annoyances come along, they don't even register. I wanted to do, I've done it once, and I wanted to do another, the 5 things or the 10 things that I hate about Armenia or Colombia or whatever. I can't ever come up with them because I don't. That's not because I'm trying to be a flowery travel agent, because I'm not. It's just, I'm living here for a reason. I'm not passing through trying to sell my videos by being all Pollyanna. I mean, I completely understand, this gets pointed out to me a lot, that if I were more over the top flowery about things, about how everything is great and spectacular, that I get more views and I get more support, and I realize that that's true. One of the keys to success in building your brand is to be completely positive all the time. Except if I'm doing a life of videos about my life and experiences, my life isn't like that all the time. Sometimes things suck. Sometimes I get sick. Sometimes life happens and problems occur, and I have to deal with them. And, unless it's very private, I try to express to you, because if you're considering living here, understand that these things happen. You have to kind of cope with them. And if they're unique to here on how best to deal with it, then, I'll talk about that in a video. But understand that that's where I'm coming from in these videos. It's not to sell you on coming here. It's to tell you about what it's like for me to live here. And so there's a lot of subjective things that maybe it's my taste, my preference, but maybe you would have something different. Carlos Gonzalez. Hi, Coral Springs, Florida. How you doing? Sam and Peg, we're in Salento on 7th of July, back in Armenia. Coleman, Baguio, Philippines has similar weather to Manizales. That's true. Baguio is maybe, well, I shouldn't say it's a little over. Baguio is actually probably the nicest place in the Philippines, at least when it comes to weather. Sorry, that email message was meant for Sam and Peg. Not sure what. Let's see, Mike Carroll. That North area agrees with you. You look healthy. I've seen you in a while. I have been feeling great ever since the doctor came, pulled me back from the brink of death. You know, I swear one day I opened one eye and there's the Grim Reaper with a sickle ready to chop my head off. It was not a good moment in time, but after she got me better, which went rather quickly, and she had me take those pills, which I stopped buying because frankly they're just expensive. I just can't afford to do it every month. However, that seemed to raise me to a level I hadn't felt in a long time. And I don't know, I really loved it, and I haven't left it. I've been feeling great. Now somebody, you know, if I don't feel well, you know, I'm always getting these things about, you know, well, you're not taking care of yourself, your immune system's bad, and, you know, try taking black powder and salt and cinnamon and drink it in a slurry of lime juice. And I get all these things sent to me, and I get that, but you know, you fall asleep in front of a fan for a couple hours, you might get a sore throat. And I got a sore throat. And I lost my voice, but I wasn't sick. Yeah, you know. So some things physically just happen. But even now, my throat's still a little harsh. And a lot of that has to do with, I go all week with talking very little. And then I get on here and all of a sudden I'm talking nonstop, and your throat, it just, if I were talking all week, I don't think I would get on here and have, you know, a hoarse throat. I assure you, I'm not sick. I feel great. David, I'll be in Armenia Thursday. Carlos, I'll be visiting my family in Armenia next September. Hope I'll see you around. Expect I'll be here. Okay, got some news articles. See if I can remember. I'll see one on the screen. I don't even remember. I did these a couple days ago. Okay. As of today, well, this was yesterday, July 1st. So I did these yesterday. As of today, the price of gasoline rises 600 pesos and exceeds 13,000 per gallon in several cities. Fuel here is pumped by the gallon. Somebody keeps trying to argue with me and telling me they're liters. I fill my tank. I know what it is. It's not liters, it's gallons. Jesus. You people that don't live here have to quit correcting me on things that I very well know because I deal with it all the time. Pet peeve. See, my pet peeve is not about Colombia. My pet peeve is about people that are like that. But anyway, every month the gasoline has been going up and up and up. And I think it's supposed to top off in June. But what can I say? It's still 13,000 pesos. Quick, somebody, 41.50 per dollar. So what's that amount to? For $3? $3 a gallon? I mean, it's still not horrible. Okay. Something else I'm asked about a lot. What's going on with the volcano? Are you going to die? Here's the thing on the volcano. Yellow alert. Condillo continues to monitor the level of activity. Now, yellow alert. Ooh, that sounds bad, right? Not really, because it was at orange alert. And orange alert is when it's possibly any moment this thing can go off. And they actually notify all the hospitals and EMT workers and all that kind of stuff. Yellow alert is, all right, there's no imminent danger. Everybody can take a step back. It's pretty mild. So it's actually toned down. And it does that. It goes back and forth, back and forth. One of these days it'll pop off. Won't affect me except the air is going to be dirty for a few days. Maybe there'll actually be a purpose to wearing one of these masks, because a mask will work for things like that. All right, what else we got? What is this one? Oh, unemployment. In May, last month, the unemployment rate was 10.5%. It's been holding there. Women continue to be the most affected. They're around, around 13%. Men are around 9%. The best employment are places like Bucaramanga. It's the best city in Colombia for unemployment rate. Theirs is 9.0. Medellin and Pereira, right near me. They didn't list Armenia on it, but Pereira, Armenia, if they list it, we have the same market. So, but then you go out on the coast. What is it? Quibdó? That's the city. Oh, drawing a blank. It's right on the coast. It's a poorest part of Colombia, and that's the little capital city. And that's their unemployment there is something like 17%. It's horrendous there. Do some singing while home in the shower during the week. Yeah, well, okay. I used to do that. I don't anymore. I don't know why. I don't know. I'll think about that. Let's see. I should have a button to push that's like a mockery, mocking something. Here's from my favorite guy. Historical Pact, that's a political party, proposes amnesty for prisoners for drug trafficking and kidnapping. Because somebody's best buddies are narcos and criminals or historical gang members. I can't imagine this is going to get any kind of support. It's hard for me to believe that they would have the nerve to even propose this. But if you're a drug trafficker and a kidnapper, I guess, your reward is amnesty. I don't know. Let's see. I figured out a way to stay in Colombia for 1 year without a passport. Well, if you're a permanent resident of Ecuador, you don't have to have one, but you have to file for the Andean card. But okay. Pretty much everybody's going to have a passport, but I don't know if that'll have much meaning or not, but interesting, I guess. Not today, yesterday. Yesterday was Condillo's birthday. Now, Condillo, remember that instead of states or provinces, we have departments. And so the state of Condillo, or department of Condillo, is the state that I live in, and Armenia is the capital city of Condillo. And Pereira is the capital of Risaralda. And then Manizales is the capital of Caldas. And Ibagué is the capital of Tolima. So when I talk about these cities, they're in different states. They're not the size of the states like in the US. They're certainly not the size of provinces in Canada, but it's the way things are divided up. So yesterday, July 1st, was the 57th year. Whoop. What? Oh, wait a minute. See if I can fix this on the fly. Okay. Let me, I'll be right back. Hold on. Just give me 30 seconds.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know?
All right. Let's try it now. There we go. How about that? Happy birthday, Candio. A young region, but loaded with 57 years of great stories. Now, it is a young region because up until 57 years ago, it was actually part of Caldas. So it wasn't its own place and there was no Candio. But because of the separation of, there's a lot of mountains between us and Manizales. It wasn't a natural fit. And the history of Candio is really kind of a separate history of Manizales, for example. It had its own discoverers with their own story come and found Armenia. And so it was really a different animal. And so they really disliked the idea of decisions for the state being made by that city several mountains over who had no firsthand knowledge of what they were making decisions on as it affected people in Candio. So in other words, they wanted no taxation without representation. They wanted their own independence. They wanted to determine their own future. And they didn't have to go to war. They basically sat down, negotiated back and forth, and they came to terms, and Candio was born. And I'm very grateful to it. I think all local governments are better governments. And there's a little video here, and I don't know what happened. It's clipped at the end. Let me show you. Somebody, this wasn't by Candio, somebody just kind of put this up. So it's short. Take a look.
Unamos nuestras manos y nuestros corazones en un gesto lleno de gratitud y orgullo hacia nuestra amada tierra. Este 1 de julio es el cumpleaños del Quindío. Aplaudamos con fuerza y con alegría el privilegio de todo lo que esta tierra hace por nosotros. Un aplauso tan fuerte que resuene en cada rincón de Colombia. ¡Vamos, Quindío! Gracias por todo y por tanto.
I had to laugh. I guess the theme is applause. But that was sweet. It was nice. So what else we got? That's it. And however, I'm right on time. It's awesome. So let's do this. It's Q&A time. It's time to start asking your questions. Remember, 4 question marks first, then ask the question. And when you've had enough, we'll just log off and go about our day. It's no football games, but you probably, what happens if July 4th, you get a long weekend, you got those couple days off? How's that work? It seemed that like July 4th always seemed to be on or around the weekend, but this is what? Tuesday? Yes, so I guess you'd probably have a 4-day weekend? I don't know. How's that work? Or do you have to take a vacation day? All right. Hit me up. You got any questions? Comments? Jerry, I work tomorrow. It figures. It figures. Any further plans for citizenship? No, I got a lot of time to think about it. I'm trying to decide right now if this fall, when I'm eligible, if I even want to take the step for permanent residence, because of the way the law changed. I mentioned this last week. As it stands right now, on a retirement visa, I get 3 years, and it's got X price. And if I get a retirement visa, I get 5 years. It's not retirement, a permanent resident visa. You get 5 years. Used to be a lot more than 5 years, but you get 5 years, except it's X plus 2 for the cost. So looking at it, it's like financially, it doesn't seem to make much sense. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do as far as that goes. But the way the permanent residency visa is applied now, it probably makes sense to get citizenship. So I'm thinking that's probably the way I'm going to go. But I'll put energy into it around September. Or maybe August, maybe towards the end of August, because I've got more than a year left on my retirement visa, so I'm not pressed. And the resident visa I can do anytime up until anywhere from I think it's September up until my retirement visa expires. So I'm not pressed for time on this, and one of these days I'll sit down and focus on it and come up with a decision. Believe it or not, I do stay pretty busy. Right now, it seems like there's a lot of people in Armenia or near Armenia that want to get together for a cup of coffee. And the problem I'm having, I have no problem doing that, but and if it's any of you watching, but for example, hey, can we get together tomorrow for a cup of, well, I can't, I'm busy. And so then I come up with a time. It's like, well, Tuesday, around 11 o'clock, I have to be somewhere and I'll have a couple hours free. So if you're interested, we can meet for coffee there. Well, I don't hear anything back, or, well, I can't, I'm doing something else. So it's just a matter of, putting it together. If I wasn't busy, it would be a whole different ball game, but I stay pretty busy. Just an FYI, I sent a contribution, but the notification didn't show up here. I did get an email. I'm looking. Oh, yeah, it did. Right there. It must have played, and I was busy talking and didn't notice it, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. In Armenia, how does a person know the amount of monthly utilities? You're billed each month, or just go to the source and find out what you owe? Well, here's one for example. Where you live, the utilities, 3 of them, the water, gas, and electric. They'll deliver it to the door. So if you're in a building, they'll deliver it to the guard house, or the porter, or whatever you want to call them. And you get something like this. It's the other one. Not on the table. And you look at the number. Like this one has a number there. Right there. You go to the internet, you enter that number, and whatever information, and this will come up, and then you just pay it. When it gets delivered to you, you usually have about 10 days to pay it. So bing, there. As far as utilities go, my electric always runs high, and I'm not exactly sure. It very often runs around $50 in a month, and that's outrageously high. And everybody I know that lives here tells me that's insane, and I should run around and unplug everything. My gas, I think that's my cheapest. This one was 26,000. It typically runs between, we'll say 26 and 36. So, so that's, and it varies because like if I did that turkey, but the gas is cheap. Water, oh, what is that? That's maybe $25 for water. So your utilities are going to run you usually under $100 a month for all three of those. And those come with whatever you're renting, because you're renting it from the actual owner of that place. It's not an apartment building thing. Somebody physically owns the particular place that you rented. And so the bills come in his name. You just pay them. The internet, you have to get it in your name, unless you work something out with a landlord. Because if you first get here, you might have trouble getting an internet place to agree to set up internet because you have no track record of being here. And so then you can often work with the landlord to charge you a little more, but include internet. My internet is 300 megabytes, and it's 65,000 pesos. So what is that? $16. Not good at converting off on top of my head anymore. Changed too much. I only mention it because of your luck with YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, well. Let's see. Where are we? Do you know what level of dental care is available in Armenia? What level? They do implants, whole mouth No. One of the best dentists in all of Colombia lives here and has an office here in Armenia. That's told to me by Armenians with a sense of pride that they've got, that one of the best dentists in all of Colombia chooses Armenia to live. No, dental and medical, when it comes to that stuff, is far superior to most places you probably live. It's not a for sure thing, but if you just look at the ranking, which you have to take all those things with a grain of salt, and it is a relative ranking, but you know, Colombia is what, typically like third, and the USA is like 13th, or I don't know. It's the equivalent type of disparity. Colombia ranks in medical higher than pretty much all of Europe, or with maybe one exception. Healthcare here is fantastic. Armenia, I've yet to hear of anybody having to go to another city to be taken care of. I suppose it's a possibility, and I don't want to pretend it's not a possibility because it could be. But I've been in the clinics here. They call them clinics, but for example, in Armenia, there's 13 insurance companies that you can be part of. So I'm part of Sura, and that's one of the better ones. Some people say the best. So I'm part of that. And they have their own, they call them clinics, but I did a video some time ago of this. It was a 8 or 10-story building, and it was all, they had their own, what do you call them? CAT scan machines and all the equipment that you would find in a hospital. What they were calling a clinic, you would call a hospital. So the insurance companies will, like Cyril, will buy into that one, and another insurance company might buy into a different one, and they're all over the place. As a matter of fact, I don't even know who goes to there's two main hospitals, one in the south, one in the north. They're public hospitals. I don't even know who goes to them, because if anything happened to me, I would never see the hospital. I'd be going to one of these things, they call it a clinic. I hesitate in saying clinic because it has connotations of, I don't know, just being cheap or something, but it's just the terminology. And the other thing is, when I got real sick, I called the doctor. She made a house call. She's not even in my insurance plan, but you can do things like that. It's so relatively inexpensive. It's not even all that important unless you have, maybe I need an operation. Maybe I broke something. Maybe, I've got, I need a liver transplant or something like that. Well, of course I go through, my insurance and do it that way, and there'd be no cost. But leading up to that, why go and wait in line? Oh, the line's not terrible there. Last time I went, it wasn't even a 10-minute wait, and I was talking to a doctor. However, how nice is it just to have your own personal doctor? Hey, I'm XYZ. Oh, I'll be over there at 2:00. All right, cool. See you then. So, I see you wear glasses. I also wear glasses. I wonder how the optometrists in Armenia. Same thing. I mean, it was great. Now, the place I bought these glasses, I was thrilled to death with at first, but I would not send anybody there because over time I ended up with two bad experiences. But initially, the doctor, the optometrist there that did it was perfect. It was usually, if I get new glasses, I have to adjust to them because it's almost like a little blurry until I get used to them, and then I'm okay. Well, I went to her and they were crystal clear right from the get-go. There was no adjustment. I put them on and everything was crystal clear. That was a new experience for me. I didn't know it was supposed to be like that, so that was pretty cool. My mother is in Armenia for a month. $1 is 4,100 pesos. Is it? It's been bouncing around. It's been like 41.80 yesterday. Let me take a quick look. Tracking it day by day is not something that I normally will do. Let's see what it says. Going to change. There we go. It's 41.83. So I use this app, which is XE, and it's getting washed out in the light. There we go. 41.83. So, and it's been hovering around there for quite a while now. Let's see what else we got. I need a pension. I'm screwed. 30 years, 100,000 income, but no pension. No, there's other ways to do it. If you have 100,000 a year, you can set up through a lawyer or through a financial, for what you call it. You can set up accounts that you can fund and guarantee through the income and have monthly disbursements, and those monthly disbursements will count. The only negative thing in having that is that you can only get the visa for as long as you have that set up for. But if you fund it for 3 years, 5 years, or whatever, then you're going to have the full time in the visa anyway. Mike Jarvis, dental optometrist here at Top Shelf. Yeah, Mike had a lot of work done when he was first here, and he would send me a lot of messages just raving about how awesome the service is. You know, I got to go one of these days. I got this tooth that I knocked out, and I just haven't done anything with it. It was never any pain. I broke it, and because it didn't hurt, it's like, well, I'll get around to it. But you know, it's pretty unsightly. Nobody says anything, but I think about it once in a while, and it's kind of crappy. So one of these days I'll go and get it taken care of. But Mike he sent me a lot of information. Some guys do that, and I really appreciate it, so that I have that information if I need it. Let's see. Rationale is a Canadian there last year and had emergency eye treatment, cheap and top notch, better than Canada or US. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty much the typical experience, and a zillion times better than Ecuador. It's Ecuador, you go to the hospital, you almost guaranteed a staph infection. You go one time for something, you end up having 7 or 8 trips back so they can correct it. It's just so many horror stories there. Are you completely satisfied with EPS, or would you suggest private health insurance? I don't know why I would. I don't understand considering private health insurance, to be honest with you. The EPS is not government insurance. It's insurance company insurance, which would be the same as if you got the private health insurance. They're both private. It's just one is under a cooperative plan, so that all insurance companies offer it. It was a plan that was designed by the insurance companies, was not something that the government designed, which is why it's so cheap, it's so effective, and it's never bankrupt. Like Ecuador, every year they're facing bankruptcy. Several times they've had to get loans to shore it up. And here it's not like that. It runs in the black. I'm missing your view and your hummingbirds. He must be talking about Mike. Not all dentists do implants and reconstruction. They're usually done by oral surgeons. Right. That's correct. And that'll be the same here. You're not going to find everyone doing everything. However, what I'm saying is you can find it here. And I know that because I've talked to people that have had it done. I was flying from Phoenix to Miami on a plane surrounded by sick people. The friend I was with got sick. We contacted Dr. Luz, and she's seen us that day and charged us 100,000 pesos. $30, $25. What's the typical meal out cost in Armenia? There's no typical cost, because it can run from $3 to $80. I mean, it depends on what you're eating and where you're going. And, you know, I don't know of a country where there's a typical. Now, you might say, what's typical price for a hamburger, or what's typical price for a ribeye steak or something like that? Well, that kind of narrows the field, and you can come up with a narrower range. How much you want to spend on eating is really up to you. You can get a good meal for $2.50, or you can go to one of the nicest places and, you know, maybe have a drink or a glass of wine and hors d'oeuvres, and maybe even throw in a dessert and have somebody wheel you out And that might cost you 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks, maybe more. Jerry, hope to be back this time next year. Libby, I had my prescription for glasses done in Pareda for 35,000 pesos. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I hope it is going to be better than glasses I have from Cuenca. I still cannot read smaller print with them. Maybe you need bifocals? Okay. Well, we're coming to the end of our hour. I'll take a last call for any questions. Anything else? Anything else? These are bifocals. They're the lineless ones. They don't really come into play very much. I could probably get away without the bifocals, but if something's up close, I actually don't. I just take my glasses off. If it's like, well, if it wasn't, I could probably get away without glasses doing this, because that's 2 feet. But I don't know. I get paranoid. Maybe there would be something I can't read, but actually, I can read it. All right. Yes, progressive. Last call for questions. And I was wondering, I was thinking maybe I wouldn't get many viewers today, because usually a few hours before the video, I'll post up in a couple places just to remind people, because very few of you that watch actually subscribe. And so if you're not subscribed, you generally aren't going to get any kind of notice. So I'll put it up just to remind people. Well, this morning, I got time was slipping by. I woke up at 5:30. I woke up at 5:30, came right in here, started working, went out, made a coffee, watched 15 minutes of YouTube stuff, came back in, worked. Next thing then I had to go and take a shower. I took a lot longer than normal. I took my time shaving, and by the time I got back in here, it's like, oh crap, I'm running out of time. And I just forgot completely to put my notices up. So, however, it appears that we're only missing about, well, earlier, maybe 10 to reach our typical viewer count. So that's pretty good. If you don't subscribe, that means you're getting in the habit of tuning in. What the heck? Damn phone. All right. I'm rambling on. Time's wasting. We all got things to do. So thank you once again. Thank you for the contributions. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the questions. And maybe I was a little harsh today on those questions. Understand, it kind of entertains me. So when I act all harsh, it's like bluster. And inside, I'm kind of chuckling. But yeah, I just try to paint a picture so you know what my life and my experiences are. We're going to end it here. I will see you next week. Ciao.